Hi, and welcome to this quick tool review. So this time around, we'll be evaluating several items. One is what's in this box, and this item was sent to me for free from the manufacturer to evaluate. So know that I did not pay for this one. However, this other item here from Char's Tools, I did pay for, and I was inspired by another YouTuber to get this one because when I saw them evaluate it, I thought, man, that's pretty darn good quality. I'll try it myself. So we'll come back to this one in a minute. Let's start right here. So I was contacted by this manufacturer via email. It was unsolicited. I didn't ask for it. They just came out of the blue and said, hey, we've got a new product out here. We're kind of proud of it. We'd like you to check it out. Would you be interested? So I said yes. Oh, they sent me a t-shirt. That's pretty cool. It's a company called Drill America, if you couldn't guess. And looks like there's some other swag in here as well. Looks like a pen and flashlight. So they sent me a little nice letter here, and I won't read the whole thing to you, but basically they're just wishing me best of luck and hope I like their product. Their product is right here. Nicely packaged. Drill bit cooler, drill bit carrying case. Rugged and organized. Got a belt clip, which is kind of interesting. It weighs, I don't know, 2 or 3 pounds. Might be heavy for a belt, but it's a really nice contained package. So inside here, we have a full set of fractional drill bits. And let's just pop out the biggest one because it'll be easiest to see. Very sharp. Very nice grind too. You don't see obvious grind marks on it. And it looks like the flutes are ground almost to a polished finish. It says high-speed steel. Looks like laser printed here. Drill bit size on it. And it looks like they are split point, so they won't wander. That is a really nice set. Just pulling out another random one. I like the laser printing. That really stands out nicely. I don't know how well it'll deal with a drill bit spinning in a chuck if that ever happens, but you know, none of the marking schemes I've ever seen deal with that well. I almost wish they'd mark way up here where you don't chuck on the drill bit. Oh, they all look really nice and are really sharp, so we'll have to drill some things and see how they how well they cut. But from initial feeling here, these are going to cut pretty well. And if you're like on a job site, I'm probably going to take this to my other job and use it there on a daily basis, because you can have a full fractional drill bit set in a really compact case that's ruggedized. The metal indexes are fine, but sometimes they have a problem with being dropped and shooting drill bits all over the place. That's not going to happen with this guy, so I'm kind of liking this. Here is the part number, and I believe you can get this on Amazon. Yeah, they're split point, 135 degree. Really nice. We'll pop over to the mill and do some cutting and evaluate them. And thank you very much for the t-shirt. I appreciate it. And the other swag. Alrighty, let's move on. One more thing about the drill bits. You can pick them up on Amazon if you are interested. And they are $59.38 Amazon Prime, which means free shipping if you're a Prime user, which is almost everybody on the planet. Major coup by Amazon. So yeah, barring any issues with cutting ability on this and longevity, they're a pretty decent looking drill bit set. Here's a made in the USA 1/2-inch split point drill bit, screw machine sized. And just for comparison, if you want to look at the quality, just from an outward appearance, it's hard to tell them apart. If the matter of fact, if you look at the grinding quality, this is like Cleeline or someone like that. If you look at the grinding there, you can see more grinding marks on the relief on this one than you can on this guy right here. This is a used drill bit, not brand new. Well, it's got some chipping in the face there too. I have to deal with that. Anyways, quality looks really good. Oh, and there's a gasket on it, so it's water resistant. Nice touch. Next up in the evaluation of the Drill America Bit Cooler drill bits and case, what I thought I'd do is something I've been kind of interested and curious about anyways, which is I am going to drill a variety of holes in here with using a 3/8 inch drill bit, with using the Drill America 3/8 inch drill bit. Just pop that guy out, 3/8, here we are. Using the Drill America 3/8 inch drill bit, and each of these other drill bits, all made in America here, a screw machine length one, a standard length, and a DeWalt auto centering one. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to drill one hole each and some aluminum right here, and then I'm going to take some pin gauges and see how close the hole is to 3/8. I've always been kind of curious about that. I know that oversized holes are common. If you want a real accurate hole, you drill undersized and ream. But I figured let's see how this drill bit performs on size. Then also, before I leave here, this is a piece of 304 stainless, and I'm going to use each of these 4 drill bits to punch a hole in the 304 stainless, see how they perform. One thing to note is this guy is a split point bit, and all of these others are standard. I think the big difference between split point and other bits as far as manufacturing concerned is that the split point bits require an extra grinding step at the end to make the center point a point rather than... I will be using anchor lube with each, and at the end of each drill I will countersink to make it easier for the pin gauge to start. That was the stub length drill bit. Next, American made jobber length drill bit. Third is going to be, I don't know, DeWalt's, whatever this tip point is called. We'll do that next. A little bit more bouncing around with the DeWalt style bit, strangely enough, or at least in the quill handle you feel it. Last but not least, the Drill America drill bit. Looking at the holes themselves, the first hole has the most scoring in it, and that would be the screw machine drill bit. This was a brand new one. So was the jobber length one. The DeWalt wasn't. The other 3 are about the same. Now we'll perform the same test in stainless, starting with the screw machine drill bit. Definitely a lot hotter cutting. Jobber length. Last but not least, the Drill America drill bit. Alright, so we'll pop over to the bench and take a look at these 3 screw machine size jobber DeWalt Drill America, and interesting comparison between the exit burrs and all of these. Drill America has the least exit burr, whatever that, sort of tied with the jobber, yeah, about. Actually, it's a little better, just a tiny bit. Anyways, let's head over to the bench and compare sizes. Remember, this one it lifted, so we can't really go with that size. So, interesting comparison. The Drill America drill bits performed right in line with their American-made equivalents. The DeWalt is made in China. So, interestingly enough, in every case, the screw machine size did worse. So, in aluminum, it was actually, so in aluminum, it was the best, 0.378 instead of 0.375. The jobber was 0.381, 0.379, and then 0.382 for the Drill America. Now, all 3 of these are tapered, and interestingly enough, they pass at 0.375 at the end where it tapers down, where they neck down, But if you take, for example, the .378 in this one here, I can only get that far before it stops. And these are deburred. So the cutting action is different the deeper you go, and you actually end up with tapered holes. The .381, there you go. That only makes it halfway through before it stops. .379, halfway through. .382 makes it almost all the way through. But here's a .376. That will not fit through the Drill America. Will not fit quite all the way through the DeWalt. Fits all the way through the Jobber, and does not fit all the way through the screw machine size. That's kind of interesting. On the stainless, the results were a little bit different. The Drill America was the only one that cut right on size. .375, there you go, it's a perfect fit, which is surprising to me actually. .376 for the DeWalt, .372 undersized for both the Jobber and the screw machine bits. Notably, the screw machine .371. Now I expected this one to be oversized because the work picked up a little bit, which would cause the drill bit to cut a little bit of extra material, sort of in an ellipse though. So anyways, I kind of expected it to be a little bit bigger, but it's actually not. Overall, my findings are that the Drill America bits seem to perform about as well as every other American-made and Chinese-made DeWalt, but American company made bits that I've got. They were a variety of sources. I think the long one was Hansen, the smaller one was Precision Twist Drills. So I find that kind of interesting anyways. I also noticed on the smaller one some significant chip welding with the stainless. So it, whatever the coating is on this one, did not perform as well as all three of the others. The Drill America, the coating performed extremely well, didn't get any chip loading at all. This one, not so much. Alrighty, next up is the tools I bought from Shars. And as is historically common, the packages, although they've gotten smarter with their shipping, the packages pretty much exploded during shipping. You can see the side here just grabbed it and it came apart. Now they did add some strapping around here for strength, which is why this thing did not completely come apart in shipping. So I appreciate that. They have gotten better. Still, they need, like, for something this heavy, this is 60 pounds, 66 pounds, they need a double thickness box. This single thickness box, probably not adequate, at least to survive. The strapping is what made it make it here. Although they did put a lot of padding around it, and then it's boxes within a box. So I don't think anything got damaged as happened with some of my Shars orders in the past. Yeah, this is, let me save that for just a moment. So I'm just gonna pop this guy over in place. Oh, they did put strapping around that as well. Oh, how lovely. Mounting screws. I know these are safe and all. I hate these safety chucks, these ones that pop out. I'm not a fan at all, so I usually make my own chuck keys, which I will probably do again. And I don't fault Shars for that, by the way. That might very well just be a liability issue, because if they ship one with a regular key and someone gets injured, someone might sue them and say that you didn't keep me safe from my own stupidity. So, if you don't know the YouTuber I chose it from, I like this. It's completely wrapped in oilcloth, but not glued to it like sometimes they are. You can tell I got myself a 6-jaw chuck here. Similar to the one that A-Bomb got, but just much smaller. And this is an 8-inch. Now my lathe could take much bigger, but my restricting factor, you're gonna love this, is the fact that this already weighs with the back plate about 45 pounds, which my back just can't take lifting heavy weight anymore. The 10-inch, which is the one I really wanted to get, that's sort of a good size for me, is over 70 pounds with the back plate. So makes it way too heavy for me. So it looks like it survived really well. Fit and finish is looking really nice. When I saw Adam's, the one that they sent him, I was very pleased with that one. Yeah, the grinding looks pretty decent on this. And so it's got the zero set back, which is an option, but not an option. It's a separate cost, just so you know, if you're planning on buying this. So when you see the chuck for $750, you go, whoo-hoo! Unless you're planning on making your own back for it. In my case, it's D16. You got to cough up another little over $100 for the back on it. Oh, that's the zero set. Oh, they didn't put chuck key spacing as the scroll. Man, I hate these. At least the spring comes off. Well, that's pretty smooth. I did notice a Zerk fitting for oil here. Being a Chinese made, oh, there's only one. There is only one scroll key position on this guy. Oh, that's interesting. I don't think I've ever seen that before. Huh. No more snugging around the circle on this guy. So it's pretty smooth. It's stiff, but consistently smooth through the whole, same amount of force all the way out. I was just looking to see how much grit and grinding dust is in here. Sorry, I'm a little off center. And I'm not finding any. They cleaned up behind themselves pretty nicely. Much better than standard Chinese made stuff. Looks like they actually really took some pride in their product here. Again, when I saw Adam with this, I was stuck on it because his looked like extremely high quality as well. So one of the things I almost always do right up front is make a much longer chuck key, because I like to be able to reach in above my, what do you call it, the headstock of the lathe. Sticks right above it, and I like to have the chuck key so I can rotate a little bit at an angle. I just like that versatility. I did opt for a 6-jaw chuck that's not fixed jaws. These are the exchangeable jaws, which does give you the option of making or buying, if you can find them, soft jaws for this as well. Wow, they really tightened the heck out of these guys. I have to put an extension arm on here, and certainly wait till I get it on the lathe. All right, let me open up the back plate next, which is a fully machined back plate from Shars. Alrighty, so here's the back plate. I have to use my scalpel because I don't know where my razor blade is at the moment. I see it over there. So they put strapping on this as well, which is a good idea for these heavy items, because the cardboard they use is not very sturdy. But again, they covered it in the Cosmoline, or whatever the equivalent modern version of Cosmoline is, wrap. I like that. The D16 things are pretty roughly cut. I think they'll work, but on some of these, this is pretty smooth. On this, it's not. I might take some sandpaper to that and clean that up. There's the screws to lock those in place. Now, what really matters is how well machined this guy is. And it looks reasonable. It's not a super fine finish. And this is the part here that mates. Although it doesn't have to be perfect because this is a 0 set, so you've got all the set screws on the outside that'll let you dial this guy right in, even if it's not perfect. It looks like, strangely enough, it looks like it took some hits. By something, there's marks, like jaw marks on this guy, which is really weird. Looks like a 4-jaw, it was held in a 4-jaw chuck like this to match the D side, to machine the D side of it. That's pretty bizarre. I don't expect to see that. A really nice chuck would have a ground surface on the back plate for the mating. I can say my Bison 4-jaw mating surface here is so tight on the spindle that I have to tap it with my piece of copper to break it loose in order for it to come off because it's such a close fit. This one, I have a feeling, is not going to be like that. I took this guy over to the lathe and just checked to see how the spindle fit was, and it doesn't wiggle at all, but it's not, it doesn't fit on and sort of wedge itself on ever so slightly like the Bison does. To be honest, none of my chucks other than my Jacobs chuck, none of the other ones do that. So it's pretty common with this style chuck apparently not to be that incredibly tight tolerance. All right, let's see if I can mount this guy on the back, and we'll pop over to the lathe and try it. Well, remember those scratches I was talking about? They're not going to matter at all. You know why? Because although this said fully machined, it is not fully machined. It needs to mate with this surface here. And this is 4.75 according to the drawing that came with the chuck. And this guy is 4.85. So there's 100 thousandths extra material on it. So it will not mate. So that will make for a little bit interesting. I guess they're saying the D side is fully machined. The rest you're on your own to make them mate. I don't know why they didn't do that, because they could have made it somewhat close, and then you use these giant Allen screws here to get it in square. You should be able to adjust it really closely. And then I guess you got to face this off too, because you can see they've got multiple machine surfaces here. And even possibly match this relief here. I don't know. Maybe that's for chips. It looks like it was ground, but I'm not sure what their intentions are, because you could make this back piece, you know, grab here as well as there. I'm gonna have to go look on the Shars site and see what they intended. When they said fully machined, I was expecting fully machined in the normal sense of put it together and you're ready to go, kind of like the Bison. But I guess for $1,000 less, you have to do a little bit of work. So I'm screwing on the D mounts, and I'm taking them all the way down and coming back one turn. I'm going to adjust them when I get over to my lathe, and then I will put in the locking screws once I get the depth set right on these guys for my particular lathe. I'll be right back. One pitfall when you put these in, just so you know, so there's a line on these, and on mine it turns out that when you face the D in the proper direction so that it lines up with the set screws, it seems like it's about right, at least on a couple of them, and I couldn't get the other ones. I thought, that's weird, so I went a full turn, and that was too much. And then I realized, you know, without these locking screws, when you're trying to tighten down on it, these might turn a little bit, in which case they won't lock. So you may have to put in the locking screws, try it, and then if that doesn't work, you know, work from there. So I am going to lock these guys down in place because they're not very snug. Some of these that I've had, the threads are kind of tight, and that makes it easier to do this without putting the locking screws, but these are very, very easily moved is probably a diplomatically correct way of putting it. So I am going to tighten these guys down. I'll try it again. Alrighty, so just taking a couple initial measurements, I know that this diameter is large on purpose. What I was also checking was how flat is the face in parallel, and it's a couple thousandths out, like 5 thousandths out of square here. So that needs to be fixed. And also, what's important is the orientation that you put this back in every time, so that it'll be correct. So I've put a mark temporarily on the outside of this guy that matches the mark I permanently put on the chuck mounting plate, and that way when I go back I can always get it the same way. I will have to mark this again when I take this down just a little bit. So besides reducing this diameter, which needs to be about 4.75, and actually you want a little bit of slop because of those 4 set screws to allow your centering adjust. I'm not quite sure how much. I'm going to start with like 1/1000th, which will make it slide on pretty easily and should give you plus or minus 1/2 in any direction. That may not be enough. I'm not quite sure. I don't know what the play is in the scrolls on the guy. So I need to also check run out on this when I'm done, and we want the run out on these two to be extremely small. So right now I've got my thousandths indicator just as a very rough measurement, and you can see it's not even close. So this is cast iron, I believe, so I'm going to put down some stuff to keep this clean, and then I'm going to run a cut here. Actually, I'll run a facing cut here. I'm not sure, maybe I'll do the facing cut last. So we'll start with this guy, getting this down to 4.75 and just a little bit under, maybe 4.73, maybe 0.02 under is a better choice. I'm not really sure, to be honest. Interesting discovery. Even with my compound all the way forward, I can't quite get to the back edge of this. I guess they set this up so you couldn't crash a tool into your mounting plate, which is not a bad idea. So I marked this guy here along the edge, but I couldn't go all the way in. I was originally going to take this diameter down, and I could flip this around later and chuck it in a 4-jaw and reduce this diameter if I really wanted to, but I guess I'll leave it large for now. So we are going to come in and we're going to touch off. This is almost exactly 100,000ths large, and so we will touch off, set our 0, and we will come in and we'll take this down to like 4.7. We'll start and try and get it right on, and then see what kind of slop we have, and then slowly walk it in. We're going to do 25 thousandths initially. What a huge mess this is making, this cast iron. The problem with cast iron is it has carbide nodules in it, and those little carbide nodules, of course, are extremely hard and will damage your ways. I think I might want to slow this down only to reduce the amount of spray I'm getting on. All right, because it's just spraying everywhere. Let's go down one. Get a great finish on it though, but what a mess. I'm gonna have to clean everything very carefully after I'm done with this. Next up, we're just going to face off the surface here. Hitting an interrupted cut where the screw holes are. There it is in place. I took a little bit more off. You can't feel the wiggle, but you can hear it here, and hopefully that will give me just enough range to get this guy perfectly centered. We're about 2.5 thousandths under for the boss diameter relative to the slot that it goes in here. All right, so let's see what my face run out is, and we'll mount this guy up. Another trick I learned was trying to get all the little metal particles off the magnets. Piece of tape can be a great way to get the last of it off, because just sitting there picking them with your fingers as most of them move out of the way is really frustrating. All right, looking at face run out here, looks like a couple of tenths, which is more than acceptable. And the run out on the boss here, I don't know if you can see that very well, is also a couple of tenths, which I think is really good. So I'm going to mount the chuck up, see how it works. All right, so I got my test bar in here, all the way in the back of the jaws, just lightly grabbed because I don't want to damage the test bar, but you can see that we're within a couple tenths here. And what you should be able to do, interesting point about the adjustments on this though, are that the adjustments only let you set run out for a specific diameter bar according to their instructions. So if you need this specific diameter and you want to take the part in and out, you can set it up on this diameter and it should repeat within a couple tenths. I think 5 tenths is what they suggest. If you go to a larger or smaller diameter, you need to reset and you need to readjust these for that diameter because the scroll only repeats for the one. So let's see if I can pop this guy out. And then lightly tighten it back in place. And the run out, like they said, is within 0.5 thousandth. So I think we're good. As far as straightness of the jaws, you got like a couple tenths over, I don't know what that is, like 8 inches. So also pretty darn good for how square those jaws are. I am very pleased in the quality of the Schar's chuck. Anyways, so we got it all mounted up. One thing I did up here, which I haven't done yet, is I'm going to put a mark on this chuck so that if I ever take the chuck off the mounting plate, I can line it up the same way it was before. I don't know that that matters, but if you're going to take it off and on, maybe it will if you're not going to want to reset every time. So I'm going to do that, and I think we're good to go. Thanks for watching. Hope you find it useful. Hope to see you next time.